Hey everybody, I'm so proud of all your hard work. I know it's getting hard. It's hard for me too, but I just want to encourage you to keep plugging on this scripture memory, okay? It's going to be so worth it. And we are like 3/4 of the way done with this chapter. So you're curling those spiritual muscles and it's difficult, but you're getting stronger and stronger, and it's going to be so worth it. So I don't want you to fall by the wayside. I want you to be able to finish so that you can know this whole chapter of the Bible. Okay, so we're on the back side, and there's 6 times that Jesus says, "You have heard it was said, but I say to you." So he's quoting the Old Testament, and he's telling them what they all already know. You have heard it was said, do not murder. Okay, so now we have our second subject. So the one this week is on adultery. And it's kind of interesting if you go back and look at the 10 commandments. Do not murder is commandment number 6. And guess what commandment number 7 is? Adultery. So the first 5, I meant to look this up, but I didn't, but I meant to verify it, but I'm pretty sure I remember correctly. The first 5 10 commandments is all about like things toward God. And then the second 5 is things toward others. So do not commit murder is the first one toward others, and do not commit adultery is the second one toward others. So you have heard it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman, so again, up with the do not murder, remember everyone with the angry birds, but I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother. So he's using the same pattern, but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And that's our 2 verses. So just key in on those keywords. I don't have a path. I don't have any fancy tricks. These are pretty short and fairly straightforward. You just got to remember it's about adultery, but lustful intent, that might be a little tricky. So just focus in on that. And already committed adultery with her in his heart. In his heart at the very end. So that is the 2 verses this week. I knew this was going to be a fairly short explanation, and something I've been dying to get to but really just haven't had time is to show you a couple of resources that I think will help you out. One is called Fighter Verses. It's an app that looks like that one right there. Okay, and if I go into Fighter Verses, they have all kind of collections, and these people have come up with 5 different collections of great verses, so that it's just a great resource to have. But then they also have Extended Memory Collection. I hope you're going to be able to see this. And it's that one right there, and then guess what? There's 5 of those, and if you hit set 5, it says 2020. It's the Sermon on the Mount. Boom. And so they're all in there, and you pick ESV version, and so it's all in there for you. The really cool part is if you do it and set it up, it'll remind you to review them daily and all that kind of stuff, and you can click when you have it memorized. But then they have quizzes. There's 5 different ways of working on your verses, and it's super awesome to be able to do them different ways. And there might be a way that really clicks with your brain. So there's quick blanks where it just gives you blanks. See? Where it just gives you blanks and you have to fill in the blank. And there's 5 different levels in each one. Recite aloud. I love this one. You record yourself saying it. When you hit record, the verse goes away. You record yourself saying it, and then it puts the verse back up, and you listen to it and see if you got it right. And that one is great, especially if you don't have a partner that you're saying these out loud to. It's great if you can, but if you don't, this is a great option. Then there's type the first letter. And there's typing, just typing it out, and word bank, like where it has, see, the verse, and then you got to go through and pick out the right word and scroll. Okay? But another really cool, let me get out of that part of this, well, okay, there we go, is when you're in just your verse, learning your verse for the week, all right, it says, listen to the verse. And you can pull up other Bible apps and listen to the verse, but the cool part about this one is that it will actually loop it. So you can choose both verses or just one of the 2 verses you're learning. So I'm just going to hit the first one because it's short.
You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery.
Okay.
You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery.
Okay, so did you hear it? It's going to keep doing it over
You have
and
heard
over.
that it was said.
So that's really cool, like if you're putting on your makeup, or if you're doing yard work, or if you're exercising. Exercising is a great time to work on your memory verses, because whenever you're moving, it's easier for that information to get in the right part of your brain. So you can just listen to it. If I was going to do that, I would listen to the one that was going to say them both. But
You have heard that it was
oops.
said,
You can listen to them over and over and over again. And so that is really helpful. And then also on that same thing where it says listen to the verse, it says sing the verse. And they have come up with songs for every verse in the ESV version in the Sermon on the Mount. Okay, so we're not going to listen to the whole song right now. But again, you could just listen to that song and it'll play it over and over again on a loop. So if you want to do it while you're driving or doing your makeup, is always just a great time. I always feel like what a waste, I'm just sitting here doing my makeup. Anyway, I could be listening to something. So Fighter Verses is a great resource that you might want to download. It's free and it's all already in there, the ESV and the whole Sermon on the Mount. And then another resource, which is actually done by, I don't know if it's the founder or one of the guys in Fighter Verses, okay, but it's called 6x6 Scripture Memory. And it's just a checkoff sheet. If you're like me, I don't know, I love checking the box and it helps me be accountable. And I was realizing that I was going 3 or 4 days and forgetting to say my verses, which is awful since I'm the leader of this thing. So this, you write down the verse you're working on, and I just went back. I wish we had started this at the very beginning, but we didn't. And I went back to the ones that I was kind of shaky on and put them all on the first line. And every day last week, I checked it off as I said it. And then you get 1 day to rest. And so then today, I'm going to add this week's verse here. And I'll say this one and check off this one when I say the second one. So you do that for 6 weeks. You say the verse 1 time a day for 6 weeks. Okay, you say it, you look down, you try. If you can't say it, you read it. And then when you get through with that, basically you know it. But then you flip over on the back, and this is per month. So you write it over here when it moves to the month, and you say it once a week. So that's why there's 4 boxes for each month. Once a week for 6 months. So basically, to learn a verse, you say it once a day for 6 weeks, then once a week for 6 months. And then if you really want to keep it forever and ever, once a year at that point. Once a year for the rest of your life. So this is just a little chart to keep you organized. I don't know that it really made sense, but when you download it, just Google 6x6 Scripture Memory, and it'll come up. And when you download it, it has a sheet of paper that explains it better than, I didn't want to make this video so long. But anyway, that's 2 different resources, the Fighter Verse app and this chart to help you. And again, this week it's 2 shorter verses about adultery, so there really aren't any tricks, but keep up the great work. I'm super proud of you guys. If you have any issues with the app or anything else, let me know and I'll do all I can to help you. I'm very proud of you. Have a great week. Bye.